All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Also, want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS that rule well and teach well forgiveness, 100% truth. All right, so I want to go into this little article um, taking place with what Trump is doing to Cuba. So I want to read this article real quick, and then we'll get a few precepts going into this article. All right, and this Trump's isolation of Cuba dries up. Nation's jet fuel supplies is forcing airlines to adjust. All right, so it says Havana, Cuban aviation officials have warned airlines that there isn't enough fuel for airplanes to refuel on the island. The latest step in its move to ration energy as the Trump administration cuts the Caribbean nation off from its fuel resources. The government of Cuba published a notice to airlines and pilots on Sunday night warning that jet fuel wouldn't be able at 9 airports across the island, including Jose Marti International Airport in Havana, starting Tuesday and continuing until March 11th. Political pressure from President Trump on Latin America has effectively severed Cuba's access to its primary petroleum sources in Venezuela and Mexico. Right, because now that Trump has pretty much seized control after taking Maduro, and he pretty much they getting control of Venezuelan oil, and that was Cuba's pretty much who they were depending on, who they were getting their oil from. Okay, was Venezuela. And it says in late January, Mr. Trump signed an executive order that it will impose a tariff on any goods from countries that sell or provide oil to Cuba, or a move that could further cripple an island plagued by a deepening energy crisis, right? So pretty much Trump is saying that pretty much they saying is that anybody that tries to help Cuba, tariffs was gonna go up, right? So now it's putting them in a bind to where, because United States being a major importer, okay, uh, and this is how like a lot of these nations, they make profit, right? Through America importing a lot of their goods. So it says, where is it at? The order would primarily heat pressure on Mexico, where the government has acted as an oil lifeline for Cuba and voiced solidarity with the U.S. adversary, even as President Claudia Sheinbaum has sought to build a strong relationship with Mr. Trump. There was speculation in January that Mexico would slash oil shipments to Cuba under mounting pressures by Mr. Trump to distance itself from Havana. But on Monday, Sheinbaum said her country would offer more help to Cuba and called Mr. Trump policies unfair. Right. There will be more support for Cuba, she said Monday, as more than 800 tons of humanitarian aid was loaded onto Mexican Navy ships to be transported to Cuba. She said Mexico was taking the necessary diplomatic steps to resume oil shipments to Cuba. No one can ignore this situation the Cuban people are currently experiencing due to the sanctions being exposed by the United States on any country that sends oil in a very unfair manner. Shibon told reporters, a spokesperson for the foreign ministry in China, which also maintains close ties with Cuba, told reporters Tuesday that Beijing firmly supports Cuba in safeguarding its national sovereignty and security and opposes foreign interference, and adding that China would always provide support and help to Cuban side to the best of our ability. So airlines forced to adjust to a fuel less Cuba. Let's see. Okay, so let me jump down to here because it's not only affecting the flights, the transportation, but I'm gonna read right here. It says Cuban also is energy crisis impacting Cuba beyond jet fuel. Cuban officials also announced Monday that bank hours have been reduced and cultural events suspended. In Havana, the public bus system has effectively grown to halt, leaving residents stranded as academic power outages and grueling fuel lines reach a breaking point. The energy emergency has forced the suspension of major events like Havana International Book Fair this weekend and a restructuring of the national baseball season for greater efficiency. Some banks have cut operating hours, and fuel distribution companies said that they will no longer sell gas in Cuban pesos and that sales will be made in dollars and limited to 5 gallons per user. Yeah, so yeah, as you see, you got Trump over here trying to how you pretty much um, make Cuba comply pretty much. Okay, because it was an article that came out maybe like 2 months ago saying telling Cuba to make a deal. So this is Trump. This is what he's doing. Okay, by forcing them to make that deal. Okay, forcing them to be in compliance. Okay, and this is who this devil is, man. Esau Edom, okay, the so-called white man. Today, this is the characteristics of this devil, okay. And we know Trump is just a puppet, okay. It goes you got to think about the big picture, okay. So they control Venezuela, okay. They are trying to not also do that. They trying to set up another regime, okay. So they're gonna try to put someone uh, in these countries, okay, that's going to comply, okay, to what they're trying to do, okay. And what they're trying to do is push that new world order, right? And for you to push that new world order, you're gonna need a lot of these countries on the same page, right? So this is what they're trying to do, right? So I want to get Isaiah. Let's get Isaiah. Let's get Isaiah 10 real quick. All right, this is Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them, so woe is destruction. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. So what they doing is they cutting off the essential resources to Cuba, okay, to force them to comply, okay, to comply with their system, okay. And this is what this devil has always been doing. Okay. He's always trying to force other nations. He's always trying to police going to other people's countries and pretty much tell them what they're gonna do, take over what they got going on, right? So let's get Habakkuk 2 and 5 real quick. This is Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keep it at home, who enlarges his desire. Hold on just a second. Read that again. This is Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man. Neither keep it at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations and unto him all people. Okay, so he's in everyone's country trying to tell them what to do. Okay, and this is what you see what's going on in Cuba. Okay, but this time that he's cutting off their oil supply, right? So that means you don't have no oil. Pretty much, he gonna hit you where it hurts. Okay, so that's what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to make Cuba fall in line, and not only he's trying to do that, he's trying to pretty much tax anyone that's trying to help Cuba. Okay, like Mexico by raising the tariffs on Mexico, right? So you got to remind that. a lot of these nations, okay, they got rich, okay, they grew, okay, because America is a large importer, okay, it imports a lot of these nation goods, okay. So let's get this real quick. Let's get Revelations merchants wax. Mm, Merchants. Let's put this in real quick. See, I think it's where's it? Yeah, this is Revelations 18:3. It says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy." Okay, and that's going into Babylon the Great. Okay, because Babylon the Great had made all these nations drunk. Okay, with her philosophies. Okay, their system. Okay, and all these nations had got in bed with America, tied down with her, right? They accepted her system, her policies, and then they pushed it on their nation, pushed it on their people. Okay, so these nations wax rich off America, right? And it's the reason why they're going when America goes down, they are going to mourn. Okay, they're going to mourn, and it tells you. Let's drop down because it tells you in 11. It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." Right? Because when America gets destroyed, they're pretty much like I said, America was their large was a big importer. Okay, so America gets taken out the picture, and there's nobody going to be buying their merchandise, right? Because all these nations got rich off America. Okay, they all was in bed with Babylon the Great, which is America, right? So what you're seeing here is why they're going to hate this whore. Okay, well that whore being America, right? Which is Babylon Great in the Bible, right? Let's get Revelation 17:16. It says, "And the 10 horns with that saws upon the beast." Okay, that 10 horns is the EU and the NATO. Okay, uh, America's allies. Okay, which you see that they step on their toes too as well. Okay, they're getting tired of America's shit, right? So these shall hate that whore. Okay, that whore is being America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right. So all these things that you see in America's doing, okay, America is losing its influence, is losing its power. Okay, so America is moving unpredictable right now, right? And these other nations see it. Okay, so not only that, Russia is going, and Russia and their allies is going to shoot missiles at America, but America's own allies. Okay, because look how America's dealing. Okay, look what they're doing in Cuba. Okay, and I think Cuba is an ally with Mexico. I mean, with Russia. Okay, and Russia is a guard. Russia and China are a guard to these smaller nations, right? So let's go back to this real quick. So all you see right now is America, Trump trying to make them comply. Okay, get them to how you say um be aligned of what they trying to do. Okay, and I believe that they trying to do because to push this new world order, you're going to need to have these other nations, okay, to comply. All right, because he got Venezuela, he's going after Greenland, he's going after he's doing a regime change. They're trying to get a regime change in Iran. So they're gonna set up the people that's gonna have the same interests as them, okay, for this to move forward. Okay. And this is all a part of them pushing that new world order. Okay, to get everybody chipped, right? Because the scripture says, let's get this real quick. Let's get Revelations 3 and 10. This is Revelations 3 and 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Okay. In the hour of temptation is going into the time of Jacob trouble. Okay. When Esau starts issuing that chip by force, okay, it's going to be a global test, right? So this is what they're trying to do, right? So if you're trying to get these regime changes, you're trying to put the people in there that's going to comply. Okay, that that's going to comply. Okay. And that's why you want your hand in everything, right? Because it's for you, because you got to think these elites, man, that's what they want to do. Okay. They want to take over the whole world. Okay. They want a control of everything. All right. This is all a part of their plan. They want to control everything. And this is why, see, Trump is just a puppet. Okay. It's really the top elites that's behind all this. Okay. Pulling the strings and doing all this other stuff. That's them behind that. All right. I'll read this again. So it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, and I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Okay. The hour of temptation is going when Esau starts issuing that chip by force, right? And it says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay. So this thing is going to be global. Okay, and which shall come upon all the world, okay, to try them that dwell upon the earth, okay. So it makes sense that they would try to go into these other countries, all right, starting with, they went into Venezuela, so they pretty much got control of that, right? Going to Cuba, okay, trying to get them to comply, all right, to your system, to your policies, all right. Greenland, and then you're trying to get into Iran. All right. Trying to get a regime change. All it is for you to put your puppets in there. That when you push this new world order, you will have your how you say, you have everything in line to where th- the ones that you put in there is going to be, they're going to comply. They're not going to buck up. Okay. And for you to push this new world order, that will have to make sense. Right. So this is what we're seeing right now. Okay. And this is what we're seeing where they should hate the whore. Okay, because look at how America is moving, right? So all this is according to Bible prophecy. All right. So it says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this thing is going to be a global thing that everybody's going to be tested. All right. This is what's happening. All right. So I just wanted to go into this little article. I wasn't going to be too long. But yeah, I just wanted to do this, and I want to say shalom.